It's Thursday, March 8th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and most of the day's news is centered around the aftermath and the cleanup of Wednesday's winter storm. We even have a horse wrangling that happened in Greenwich during that storm, but more on that later. Now, Frank Granito will have your forecast and a Nutmeg Sports update. Donald Ng joins us later to take a look back on this day in history, and John Kovach will join me later in the show to preview our front pages this week. But first, thousands are without power this morning following Wednesday's storm. Now, many school districts opting to close today, and reports of wires and trees down still a major concern. Now, areas like Ridgefield reported roughly 22 inches of snow, most of which fell in the late afternoon and evening. Now, our local HAN Network community news sites are keeping us updated on the latest storm recovery efforts. It's a mess in most of the towns we cover, including Easton, where Police Chief Timothy Shaw reported at 9:30 this morning that Route 58 was closed both ways north of Country Club Road. A tree had fallen across the road within the past hour, and wires are down there. He said they are awaiting the power company. Now, Weston's emergency management director this morning, Joe McKelly, announced around 8 a.m. that there are approximately 115 trouble spots on roadways in Weston and a long list of road closures. Now, you can see that list at aspetuck.news. In Fairfield, police there reporting 172 roads are blocked, over 3,000 homes without power from downed trees and wires, and no projections yet for power restorations. Now, officials reminding everyone to please treat all down wires as being energized and do not go near them or drive over them. Now, you can report any downed wires and outages to UI at 1-800-722-5584 or at Eversource at 1-800-286-2000. Now, in New Canaan, not long after 6:30 this morning, New Canaan Fire Chief Fred Hennessy sat at the emergency management facility at the New Canaan Police Department and discussed conditions around town after the second storm. Now, Hennessy says that the roads are still extremely hazardous. Take a look.
Roads are extremely hazardous. We've had a couple of trees fall on cars. There are wires in a lot of the trees that are down. I would recommend everybody to stay inside, stay off the roads if possible. It's very treacherous out there.
All right, thanks so much to the New Canaan Advertiser for that video. Now, in Darien, they've had as many as 40 roads closed or partially closed due to storm damage, including downed trees and wires. That according to First Selectman Jamie Stevenson this morning. Now, the blocked roads were the reason that schools were closed, she said. Darien continues to have 754 Eversource customers, roughly 9% without power. And though a challenge, it has fared better than some of its other neighbors, as we've mentioned earlier. Now, by comparison, Wilton having about 33% of its customers out, Weston 67% of its customers out, and Reading about 65% of its customers currently without power. Now, Stevenson said Town Hall was opening at a regular time today. Because school is out, she did caution parents to check their properties for downed wires and trees before letting children go out and play in the snow. And in an update on a story we brought you yesterday during our Stormcast, a missing Stratford man has reportedly been found. Now, 79-year-old Anthony Capuano, who suffers from dementia, had been reported missing since Tuesday evening, and Stratford police issued a silver alert yesterday. Now, thankfully, WTNH reports that Capuano was found Wednesday evening in upstate New York. No further details were available. And in other news, Hearst, Connecticut media reports that a man who police said nodded off behind the wheel of his car while at the McDonald's drive-thru early Saturday morning was arrested for drunk driving. 24-year-old Franklin Gaines of Garland Circle in Trumbull was slumped over the wheel of his car when officers arrived at the Post Road restaurant around 2:15 in the morning. Well, when they knocked on the car window, he took his foot off the brake and the car rolled forward. An officer reached into that car and was able to put it in park, and the police say there was a strong odor of alcohol on Gaines's breath, and he failed field sobriety tests. Now, he was charged with driving under the influence and released after posting a $100 bond. He's scheduled to appear in court on March 13th. And Hartford police say a man answering to a stolen car charge drove a stolen car to court. Authorities say 25-year-old Jonathan Rivera was at the Hartford Superior Court on Wednesday to appear before a judge on a charge of first-degree larceny and tampering with a motor vehicle from February. Now, parking authority agents scanning license plates outside that courthouse found that a car had been reported stolen there. Well, police kept an eye on the car and they arrested Rivera when he got inside and tried to drive away. Rivera has been charged with second-degree larceny and taking a motor vehicle without the owner's permission. And Grace Duffield of our New Canaan Advertiser saw an interesting sight on Elm Street yesterday afternoon, a barely clothed runner. Now, she spoke to the man about his reasoning for running in the snow so scantily clad. Check it out.
Why are you dressed like that running on Elm Street in New Canaan?
It's part of a practice I have several times during the winter, just to run basically shirtless and pantless. I call it the blizzard run. I'm a blizzard runner. And it's based on the work of a Dutchman named Wim Hof, who's known as the Iceman. And he teaches us that cold is actually our friend. It's a noble force. It strengthens our immune system, it strengthens our focus, and it really is a demonstration to myself and anyone else who sees me that we're capable of a lot more than we think we are.
All right, definitely an interesting sight right there and the reasoning behind it. But taking a turn now, we're going to throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at your forecast. Frank.
All right, well, we're getting closer to normal running weather now, Kate. We should see some sunshine over the next few days around the county. Temperatures around the mid-40s today with partly cloudy skies. It's going to be a little bit breezy out there as well. Wind gusts still up around 20 miles per hour. The big concern, obviously, with the snow melting from yesterday, temperatures falling into the 20s tonight. Mostly cloudy. We could see some patches of black ice heading into Friday morning. A lot of the same tomorrow on the way. Clouds early on. Breaks for sunshine later in the day. Temperatures right around 41. It'll get cooler again overnight, back down into the mid-20s. And Saturday, Sunday, even Monday, looking like that trend will continue. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures right around 40, 45 degrees as we continue now to work our way through March. Hopefully through what has been the last snowstorm, Kate.
I hope so too. All right, thanks so much, Frank. We are going to step out for a break. When we come back, Donald Eng will take a look back on this day in history. Frank has your Nutmeg Sports Update, and we have more local news, including some horse wrangling in Greenwich. That coming up after this. Set sail on a summertime adventure with Sail Away Sailing School. Located in Captain's Cove Seaport in Bridgeport, we're sailing June 18th through August 10th. 2 sessions offered daily, Monday through Friday for ages 9 to 15. Have fun, make friends, learn to sail. Visit teamsailaway.com.
At Pamby Motors, we're not worried about being the biggest dealership. We're focused on being the best. We're dedicated to giving you the best experience we can. The Pamby Motors team is here to help you choose the right Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram in a friendly, pressure-free environment. And right now, during Ram Truck Month, get up to $14,000 off on all in-stock 2017 Ram 1500 pickups. Come in and see us for details. Visit Pamby Motors, Route 7 in Ridgefield, PambyZone.com.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Baystar and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866.
Welcome back to this March 8th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. Time to take a look back on this day in history with Donald Eng. Don.
Well, Kate, the titanic battle of good and evil continued on this date 35 years ago. First, though, we go back to 1817, 201 years ago, the New York Stock Exchange founded. Now, in its early days, the exchange mostly traded in war bonds from the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. Today, the stock exchange is the world's largest by far, and believe it or not, it's the only major one where the stock traders still manually buy and sell on the trading floor. Why do they do that? It makes for better television when someone rings the bell to start trading at the beginning of the day. To 1936 now, the first ever stock car race on Daytona Beach. The 4-mile course ran south along Route A1A until that road ended. Then they made a 180-degree hairpin and returned along the beach there with the ocean on their right. The race was stopped when the turns became impassable due to the rutting in the sand. The race also lost money, mostly because organizers neglected to come up with a plan to keep people from watching the race for free. It was, after all, run on public roads and a public beach. To 1957, Governor Marvin Griffin signs the 1957 Georgia Memorial to Congress. That is a joint resolution of the Georgia legislature which demands that Congress declare the 14th and 15th Amendments to the Constitution null and void. Now, in case you're wondering, the 14th Amendment declared the freed slaves to be U.S. citizens and mandated equal justice under law. The 15th Amendment prohibited the denial of voting rights based on race. Georgia, as you can see there, felt that allowing the races to live and vote together was communism. Not sure why that would be, but speaking of communism, we now go to 1983, 35 years ago today for this.
So in your discussions of the nuclear freeze proposals, I urge you to beware the temptation of pride, the temptation of blithely declaring yourselves above it all and label both sides equally at fault, to ignore the facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil empire, to simply call the arms race a giant misunderstanding, and thereby remove yourself from the struggle between right and wrong and good and evil.
That was Ronald Reagan on this day declaring the Soviet Union an evil empire determined to sap the soul of America. In the speech, Reagan went on to present nuclear war as an extension of what he called the age-old struggle between good and evil. That is your Look Back in History for today, March 8th, and I'm Don Lang.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, Greenwich police had an interesting winter storm rescue. They report via their Facebook page that late last night, a tree fell on a barn in the backcountry and it opened the barn door. Well, a horse was running around on Round Hill Road, but police were able to wrangle it back. Now take a look at the video they shared.
Nice job, Wally. Nice job. That's one for the books. The horse whisperer, Wally Wallace. Either way, Quags went that way. Come on, horsey.
Come on. Hey. Come on. Yep.
Whoa, he's a big one, huh? Come on. I should recognize his home.
Well, Greenwich police wrote that while growing up, Officer Wallace never knew if he really wanted to be a cop or a cowboy, but last night he got to be both. All right, in other local news, a crowd is expected at the Milford Historic Preservation Commission's March 19th meeting, when the commission will be presented with plans to demolish a historically significant Milford house. Now, the house in question is located at 67 Prospect Street and was built by David L. Baldwin in 1835. Now, Baldwin, who was born in Milford in 1785, was town clerk of Milford for 27 years and clerk of probate for 12. Now, the house is located in the National River Park Historic District, and in addition to its significance, it is noted for its architecture. It's a two-story Greek Revival style house. But even more important than the house itself is the fact that the property was once part of the home lot of Reverend Peter Pruden, the leader of Hertfordshire group that founded Milford in 1639 and first pastor of the First United Church of Christ. Well, the city's first burying ground was in Pruden's backyard, meaning that a number of Milford's founders are buried on that property, according to city historians. There is much more on that story at milfordmirror.com. And Ridgefield High School students will be running a short activity Wednesday, March 14th to memorialize those who lost their lives on February 14th at Marjorie Stoneham Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Well, that activity will run from 10:02 a.m. to 10:32 a.m. As this is a student activity, it's open only to students and staff of Ridgefield High. According to Principal Stacy Gross, we are proud of the work and commitment our students have demonstrated. Now, Gross said any students who would prefer not to participate may go to the school's library and that teachers will be present to supervise them. Gross also said, in line with our desire to provide a secure and safe experience for all involved, the Ridgefield High School campus will be closed from 9 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. She added that also there will be an increased Ridgefield police presence on campus throughout that day. And state police rescued a dog during the storm yesterday that they found taking a walk on I-691 in Meriden. Well, a trooper rescued the dog, who then proceeded to curl up on the front seat of that state police cruiser. State police say that the Meriden animal control officer picked up the dog and will help him find his home. All right, let's throw it back now to Frank Granito for your Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
All right, obviously nothing in action last night, Kate, and still some postponements going on for the games that were moved to today. We can tell you right now that Ridgefield basketball and hockey games have been postponed again until tomorrow. Trumbull's boys basketball matchup with Wilbur Cross has been moved to tomorrow. Trinity and Danbury's first round state game in boys hoops will be played tomorrow as well. We can say with confidence that Fairfield Prep hockey will play tonight against East Catholic. Notre Dame of Fairfield will take on NFI, and Darien will travel to Notre Dame of West Haven later on tonight. The one game we are still waiting for word on regarding an FCI team is New Canaan and Hamden. In boys hockey, that game is scheduled for 8:45 tonight, and still no decision has been made. Make sure you're back with us at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We'll get you caught up on the entire accurate schedule for what's going on tonight as these postponements continue to roll in. And of course, we'll look ahead to the upcoming games this weekend. That's at 2 o'clock with myself and John Kovach. For now, though, we go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. We're going to step out for a break. When we come back, John Kovach joins me to preview our front pages this week, coming up after this.
Voted Best Gourmet to Go in Fairfield County, Palmer's extensive menu offers everything you'll need to make your next event easy and delicious. Whether you're hosting a small get-together or planning a large celebration, they've got you covered breakfast through dessert. Order online at palmersdarien.com or call 203-655-2077.
Yeah, Dad.
Kyle, I need you to update the financial statements.
I took care of that yesterday, Dad.
Mac, I need you to get those deals approved.
They're all done, Mr. Miller.
Jeff, I need you to order lunch for the meeting. They can't do a thing without me.
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
I'm never going to retire.
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet, 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us.
Fresh start to the new year by shaking up your meal routine. Walter Stewart's Market is your local source for a delicious selection of fresh and convenient salad shakers, like Southwest salad with chicken, Cobb with organic chicken, Power Vegan with fruit and quinoa, Greek salad with tabbouleh, and grilled shrimp with hominy. Grab one from our salad case or order from our deli today. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Welcome back to this Thursday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with our editorial director, John Kovach, previewing our front pages this week. Now, John, we should say that these papers were put together really before yesterday's storm had a chance to make a big impact, and our news sites are really keeping everyone updated on that.
Knowing the potential impact of the storm, we kind of accelerated deadlines and got a lot of these papers put together before the real heavy stuff began to come down, some of that for employee safety, some of that to try to ensure delivery. There still may be some papers that don't get through, and we have opened access to our e-edition, which is accessible, the bar on top of your local HAN website. You'll see e-edition. Until 11:30 tonight, you can access that for free. That's a PDF of the edition. If you do not get your delivery today, it should be there tomorrow.
All All right, and so we should say that a lot of our paper is covering the last storm damage. John, what are you?
It's not like we missed having storm shots because we had the prior one. New Canaan has a shot of a tree that came down, struck a truck. The response to that. They're discussing the school budget in New Canaan, where the superintendent said he could find $500,000 to reduce the increase. They're discussing professional development time, and New Canaan High students will be joining the March 14th walkout.
All right, taking a look at the Reading pilot, of course, more storm damage from last Friday, trees down and some power outages there. Also an SRO going on patrol at the schools. I believe that's actually last week's paper that's up there right now.
That is last
week. So let's here. If we go back to our shot, I can hold up the shot that we have now. Steve, director. Yes. So this is this week's Reading pilot. We'll just kind of go through some of these. We might not have the most updated graphics.
The Wilton Bulletin has a shot of a tree that came down. This in the prior storm. I'm sure there'll be more storm shots next week. Also a look at the grand list, a discussion of student stress. It's one of my favorite times of the year, maple syrup time.
Yes.
And a discussion of calculus courses and grades at Wilton High School.
All right, taking a look at the Ridgefield Press this week. Some of the news in the press, we have that Officer Chris DeFalco named Officer of the Year. Also, thousands, of course, losing power last Friday in a brutal storm, and now Ridgefield, of course, dealing with the cleanup from yesterday's storm. And a budget, about a 2.5% hikes all around in some of the proposed budgets in Ridgefield.
Weston will vote on a proposed dog park on Saturday, and there's also an open house on a maple syrup farm coming up in Weston.
All right, taking a look at the Milford Mirror this week, a story we just talked about, and that's at that former Peter Pruden property going up for a meeting. There are some development plans for that property, and historians in town not happy to hear about it. Another big project that some Milford residents aren't happy about, and that's Silver Sands and a major renovation underway there.
The Darien Times reporting on a statewide story that could see a fee be charged for freedom of information request. This a way to try to keep people from abusing the privilege. The First Selectman of Darien fighting against Metro North rail reductions, and a look at the prior nor'easter.
All right, looking at the Stratford Star, of course, some flooding from last Friday. We also have the Board of Ed asking for a $100.8 million budget, $100.8 million, and Phil Young sworn in as the newest state rep after that big special election.
In Trumbull, we have some storm damage. We have Ben McGorty announcing that he will run for his seat in Hartford again. We have Tim Herbst and Susan Bisowitz agreeing on something, this involving Tim Herbst's gubernatorial campaign, a burglary, and a Trumbull man charged in a fatal overdose.
All right, taking a look at the Monroe Courier this week, Town Council handing its budget to Finance with some reductions. The district looking into a security officer for the district. We also have Fiddler on the Roof taking the stage this weekend in Monroe.
The Easton Courier looks at the SRO patrolling Joel Barlow and the nor'easter that blew through.
All right, and looking at the Shelton Herald this week, some big news we've talked about on Coffee Break. That's that a former fire captain and a volunteer firefighter charged with arson. And we also have the fact that Shelton High School moving its graduation to Ansonia. More on that in this week's Shelton Herald.
Our Arts and Leisure has an interview with the frontman of Five for Fighting and looks at the Hairball, a fundraiser for the Aldrich Museum of Contemporary Art.
And be sure to check out the home section in your papers this week, more on decluttering your closet and making your house a home. So a lot of great features in there. Still a busy day coming up on the HAN network. We have Straight Talk with Tracy coming up at noon. We're revisiting an episode we ran in August about body image and self-esteem. Definitely some powerful stuff there, so be sure to check it out. Yankee Fisherman coming up at 1 o'clock.
We are going to be at a hearing on new saltwater regulations that are taking shape in the coming weeks, and we will discuss a fundraiser for the family of a 1-year-old boy battling leukemia. This is going to be a big deal on March 25th. We'll talk with two of the organizers at 1 o'clock.
All right, and 2 o'clock, Nutmeg Sports. Now we're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but still urging everyone, check out your HAN Network community news site, Twitter, Facebook. They're really keeping you updated on all this storm cleanup and what's happening in your community. All right, we're going to wrap things up. We will see you tomorrow at 11 with the latest local news and more. Have a great day.